This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? Long time no talk, man. How you been?
Hey man, I'm rested on one aspect of things, but I'm tired on other aspects of things, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But how have you enjoyed your time away,
It's
Mr.
been good,
Pickleball,
man.
Mr. Pickleball champion?
I actually I signed up for another tournament, so I'm playing 3 in August. So it's going to be interesting. And
Mm.
I'm back in DC. I was out last night till 11 o'clock and went out to go hit the courts this morning at 7 o'clock. And I'm not going to lie, I am dead tired. It is way too hot out here, and I want to move because this is absolutely miserable right now.
So you're saying they don't have any air-conditioned pickleball courts?
I've been playing outside. I mean, there's a couple indoor places. I mean, living in
Yeah.
downtown DC, I wish there were better indoor places. There's one indoor place that I'm going to tonight to go play. It's called Kraken Courts. It's not the best, and you got to pay. I mean, I don't want to have to pay money to play indoors or play the game if I can just go outside. But
Yeah.
last night it was 104. Man, I was thinking about it. Maybe sell a kidney or something to afford to be able to go one of those indoor courts because it was crazy hot.
So do the indoor courts have like surge pricing like the HOV when they know everybody, it's hot outside, they know everybody wants to go inside, do they up the price, or is it the same price all year round?
It's the same price, but they got surge pricing for like the evenings when everyone's off work. Like
Uh-huh.
you can go during the day. Like I remember when we used to go bowling as kids,
Yeah.
like we would always go bowling like during the daytime when no one was there. But at nighttime, we would never go because they charged you a lot more when the
Hmm.
family would, take all the kids out and all my friends and everything else. It's the same
Yeah.
way with pickleball. You got to spend more money at nighttime. But man, there's a new facility that opened up not too far from you called the Pickler. And I've been seeing ads. They've been asking me to come out down there. If it wasn't that far down 95, I mean, I'm not going to go to the Commander Stadium if they move it down there. So I'm not going all the way down there to play pickleball. So, it is what it is.
Huh. I've never even heard of it. Probably because they're like, this dude don't play, so we don't even waste our advertisement dollars on him.
Yeah, I'm sure that you're like what the hell do they call it? Your timeline is probably different from mine at this point. Mine's just all inundated with pickleball stuff and
Hmm.
some commander stuff and then a lot of food stuff since there really hasn't been much going on in commander land. But how you been, man? You've been getting out on the bike. I mean, it's I think B Mitch was talking about how he got out this morning, did a 16 miler, but I think it's a little different because you're at least moving faster, but I still don't know how y'all
Nah,
get out there.
nah, hot is hot, bro. And don't get me wrong, you still get out there and do it. I rode what was that? Today's Wednesday, so I rode on Monday, and I paid for it. Let's just say that I slept really well Monday night, so much to where I didn't want to get up Tuesday morning for work. But when that alarm clock goes off, I owe, so I must go type of thing. So, but yeah, man, we rode and probably had maybe about I'd say a 12-mile-an-hour pace. Nothing out of this world because we knew it was hot and there's nobody's competing for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get some exercise. So we left out of Arlington, crossed over the bridge, went a couple laps around Haynes Point or Potomac Park. However, I'm old school, so it's Haynes Point to me. So did a couple laps there, crossed back over the bridge, put the bike on the car, and beat feet back home, man.
Yeah, there is zero chance. I remember, so you know how Facebook does that timeline thing?
Hmm.
So I'm one of those guys that bought a bike during COVID.
Ah.
And it's been 4 years now that I did like 20 miles around DC, going through like Georgetown and Rock Creek Park, Anacostia Trail, all that stuff. And I went down to my garage just a little bit ago because we got like an Amazon pack. Shocker, it's Prime Day, so we're getting packages, out the ass right now.
Yeah.
And my bike is just sitting there collecting dust. I'm thinking I could sell that thing, make some cash. Because so
Yeah.
I bit the bullet and I dropped a couple of G's on a pickleball machine. And
Oh, okay, okay. Time out, time out. What is a pickleball machine.
So you've seen like pitching machines, like tennis machines
Okay.
where they shoot the ball at you.
Yes.
So this thing comes at you up to 70 miles an hour.
What?
It can adjust the velocity, it can adjust the spin, if it's top spin, backspin, angles, all this stuff. And you've got different drills that you can download that pros and other people put inside there. So if you want to work on different stuff. So my game plan, I mean, we talked about retiring, right? Like you retiring from traveling to every game, me retiring from the tailgate,
Yeah.
and they do have a senior tour. So my game plan is to get good
Mm.
enough to join the
Mm.
senior tour and make some cash just traveling around doing that. And then maybe, if they play a weekend where the Commanders are playing, then still go catch a game. But you got to practice, right? So, the Commanders are about to have practice coming up in a week. So I figured, all right, well, I got to order this machine so I can start practicing myself.
Is that a week from now? Yeah, the 28th. That's the first practice.
Yeah, man. A week from now, the guys will be actually, I think the rookies report this weekend, and we're not allowed to be there, which is, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of frustrating because we got to go to rookie mini camp last year. This year,
Yeah.
you
We were
and I didn't
spoiled.
get the golden ticket, didn't get a chance to get out there for mini camp because
Yeah.
we don't have a box, and we're not a big sponsors and all that stuff. So we're not going to get a chance to see the rooks, just the rooks. And I know a lot of people like doing that because it's easier to get autographs from the draft picks. You know, I'm not an autograph guy. I don't think you're an autograph guy, but it would have been nice to be able to be there for more days because I saw that the Ravens, their fans, granted, they only get 1,000 passes a day, but they have 20 open practices.
Wow.
And we had what, 7?
So, do you believe it's just because of it's the facility? Because I know that there was a film uh they were having a film day and that got cut back to another day because they just said it's too much construction going on. So, and I'm not quite sure where the film room would have been, maybe inside the bubble, I assume.
So the
But
bubble was actually down. It
yeah,
just got put back up. So I did that film session, I
yeah.
want to say it was 2 years ago with the quarterback coach, and we were in the bubble. And they
Hmm.
had 100 of us in there. It was pretty sweet for those that had never been in the bubble before. And they just had a bunch of TV screens. But since the bubble just got reinflated, I'm guessing that would have been in because they're inside the actual commander's facility itself. There's basically a movie theater where they
Hmm.
break down film and stuff like that. I don't know if that's where they would have done it. That would have been my guess because the bubble's not there, but who knows? You typically don't have fans in there for that. And I'm not shocked, but I don't know. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're not having us out there because of all the construction, hearing how crazy it is, how hectic it is. I mean, it's also a liability for them to have all these fans and people walking around basically on a construction site. So who knows?
Well, I'm sure they're going to have plenty of cordon and ropes telling you where to go on Sunday because I know it's not miraculously going to be all taken care of. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to see. I'm looking forward to it. I will be there on the 28th, and I'm looking to see all the changes that they say that they've done. I know the biggest one is tearing up that turf field, and I can't even remember when I haven't seen it. I mean, it's been there since the beginning of time, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So all I've
Yeah.
ever
B
seen
Mitch
is that.
played on that thing.
Dang, all I ever remember was that turf. So it's going to be interesting to see how that looks, what they've actually done, and what are they using it for. Any idea what they're using it for as another practice field?
I think it's gonna be another practice field out there.
Okay.
So I mean that thing was just you couldn't do anything with it. I mean, it was just
No.
I felt like walking on pavement when you're on that thing, and it was so hot. And they stopped using it for anything because they would just host different groups
R-
there. They had the big tents
Right.
and the porta
Right.
potties out there and stuff like that. But it was just a waste of space. They just didn't want to invest any money in it. So you're gonna have to, bring your GoPro so we can see footage of you going out there. I'm not sure if they'll. Did they let you use that out there? Have you used it at camp before?
Yeah.
Put your
Yeah.
little shoulder harness on and walk down there with your GoPro so we can get a rally captain POV.
It'll be on the stick, not my shoulder like at the draft. But hey, man, The mere fact that we're going to be breaking bread with everybody, that's what I care about. I want to be able to talk to the players, obviously, if they're available, but if because I'm sure they will be, to take a couple questions and a couple selfies, So I'm looking forward to that. I'm starting a new thing with the players called 2 questions with the captain.
I
So
saw that, man. That's actually been
anybody,
fun to go back and watch.
yeah, 2 questions with the captain. So it's not anything long. It's just two random questions that hopefully they don't mind answering, and so it's nothing too intrusive. It's just for fun. So I'm hoping that the players that are watching, that you guys will get on board and participate with 2 questions with the captain.
For our listeners that haven't seen it, where can they find that?
Uh, they can find it on YouTube. I believe I have uploaded it to YouTube, and so far it's been London Fletcher, and I've interviewed what's his name? He's not here with us anymore. And forgive me, he came from Kansas City. I just can't think of his name. I talked to him in Denver. Not Denver. It was. I've gone so many places. Seattle is where I talked to him, and I just can't think of his name. Number 3, I want to say, was his name, was his number rather. Um, but nevertheless, we're going to try to keep the ball rolling with 2 questions with the captain.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I see your YouTube page here. It's on there. I'll put a link to your YouTube page in the description so that way people can find it easily. If you guys are looking at this, you can see it on our YouTube if you're watching the video. So it's good stuff, man. Check it. I mean, just like you said, it's not too long. It's actually, really fun. So hopefully you can get a couple questions answered to some of the guys out there. Maybe get Jayden to rock that chain. We'll see how it goes.
I don't know, bro. I'll always ask, but sometimes, they're tired, and this is the first true practice that they're going to have. So I don't know what the command staff would have told them, how generous to be with the fans.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. I think about Richmond when
Yeah,
Robert was us, and it was his rookie year.
yeah.
And Tony Wiley, for those of you, you might not remember that man, you might remember it. Tony was the head of PR for the team,
Mm-hmm.
and he was basically like a bodyguard to Robert. Robert did not step anywhere without Tony on his hip. So it makes me wonder
Oh
who they're
yeah.
going to assign, because the excitement for Jayden, I want to say, is higher than it was for Robert.
You
Well, actually, I
think
mean,
so?
I don't know. We gave away so many draft picks to get Robert,
Yeah.
but Jayden, just from what he has done in college and everything else, I feel like just in the fan base right now, everyone's a little more excited because he seems to be more of a well-rounded quarterback. I don't know. Those of you listening, chime in. Let us know what you think. But from a kind of excitement level perspective, I mean, I'm excited to see this kid, to see what he can do, considering how good he was and dynamic he was at LSU. I feel that Baylor offense was kind of gimmicky, and what Robert was going to do here, I don't know. But Robert was also more of a social media showman. I mean, he
Oh
made it
yeah, definitely.
all about him, and the only time we see anything about Jayden on social media is through Brandon Aiyuk. So I mean, not really seeing him promote himself in any other way.
That whole story in itself still amazes me, but
It,
we'll
it
we'll get
drives
it.
me crazy, man.
We'll
I
get
mean,
into that too.
well, let's just jump into it now. I
All
mean,
right.
Ayuk requested officially a trade the other day, right? He went on, I can't remember what the podcast was he went on, but Jayden was there with him. And then he
Mm-hmm.
had a video on whether it was his IG or TikTok, it's all the same to me. I know I sound like an old man, but whatever, of him watching Commanders practice film. And then everyone's freaking out, like, oh my gosh, how do you get a hold of Commanders film and this and that? Why is Jayden sending this to him? Is Jayden going to get in trouble? Well, we haven't heard anything officially, and I hope that they keep this stuff in house, because there were a lot of times that Rivera just talked about stuff and he didn't leave it in house, and it got out and it just blew up. And the fact that we haven't heard anything about that whole film debacle, I think is great. But I think it was some offshore website. They've got odds on what team Jayden is going to go to. So on this list, you've got 7 teams.
What team Jayden's going to go to, or
No,
Brandon?
sorry, what team Brandon's going to go to in a trade. Now, the 49ers are saying, we're not trading him. People are calling the Niners, and they're saying, we're not trading him. And it doesn't make sense. If they were going to trade him, they would have did it before the draft. They are, Super Bowl contenders. So why are you going to trade one of your wide receivers that's going to help you get there for a draft pick? The only way you're going to do it is if you get a draft pick and a player, and I don't know what team that's going to want to do that. But the Cardinals are 10-1 to land Braden. The Pats are 10-1. The Chargers are 9-1. The Colts are 7-1. The Jags are 6-1. The Steelers are 4-1. And the Commanders are 8-1 to land Aiyuk. So, I mean, he did say himself that he would love to play for the Commanders on that podcast he was on, but if he couldn't come to Washington, he'd be happy to go to Pittsburgh.
Definitely Pittsburgh. Well, I look at this from a different angle, if you will. And the angle that I look at it is from him putting Jayden underneath his arm and saying, you possibly could be going through this in a couple of years. So let me bring you on this ride so that you can see what it's like. And so maybe you might not make the mistakes that I may have made. So like big brother, little brother type of thing, showing him the ins and out of the football game. That's how I look at it. And I think that also he kind of used his big brother hood, if you will, to kind of get Jayden in a little trouble. I feel as though that on one aspect, he wants to show him the game and Jayden is all fine with it. But then you got to know that it's not cool to show tape. You just got to know it's not cool.
Yeah. I mean, he threw him under the bus.
Yeah. And so because of that, it's twofold. So that's my take on it. I'm sure he's learned from it. We all have learned from it. And as far as that's concerned, like you, keep it in house because there are certain things that fans don't need to know. And this is one of those times that I'm very happy that we are not on Hard Knocks off season, because this would be deeper than what it is, I'm sure. And you would have a true insight of what's really going on.
Have you been watching Hard Knocks right now?
Yes, but I missed last night. I'm actually, after we stopped recording, I'm going to go and watch it. But to me, it's very good.
Oh yeah, just seeing the whole Saquon Barkley deal and everything else and how it worked out, and them saying, like, the owner telling the GM, I'm gonna be really upset if he goes to Philadelphia, and guess what? He's over there. I mean, it's just it's crazy some of the stuff that they actually got on tape and that is being aired right now, because it does not make the Giants look good at all, which I'm happy with. Obviously I can't stand them. So, but
NFC East team, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, any NFC East team, and I'm not a big fan of the Steelers and the Ravens. And I got people asking me if I'm going to go to Baltimore, but I can't be anywhere near purple camo, man. It's just going to drive me crazy.
Oh man, I was hoping that you'd show up to Baltimore. I'm going to be there, bro. I mean,
I know. It's just
you gonna watch it on TV.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I'm watching, it's going to be on TV. But I don't want to deal with their fans, man. Their fans are just so disrespectful. The past couple times they've come here, and I know you don't get it, like I get it, but it's just walking around. I remember the last time we played up there, there were signs saying, "We're Maryland's team. Get your stadium out of our city, or get your stadium out of our state." Like, Maryland's not DC, and just all this other stuff. I'm like, it's fine. I remember I went there for a Steelers game one time. And I mean, the Steelers are like the Ravens Cowboys, right? It's just straight rivalry. And it was just nasty seeing what I was seeing. So
when the last time I was there, everybody was with open arms, man. I mean, no one gave me any problems. I don't know, man. I don't know why they didn't, but they just didn't. And so I can't speak on that. And as far as signs are concerned, I mean, that's just fan banter that you'll see in any stadium. So I don't look at that. As a matter of fact, I think we won that game. I think we won that game because they tried to throw a touchdown in the corner of the end zone, and the receiver got 1 foot down. The replay showed, or they thought he had a touchdown, but the replay showed he only had 1 foot down. And so I want to say we won that game in Baltimore. Um, so and even on the way home, no problems. No one said anything to me. It was more so of, hey, you're a fan, I'm a fan. You go your way, I go my way. So maybe they just don't like you, Ted. Is that what it
That's
is? Is that what
possible,
I'm
man.
hearing?
That
Is that
is
what I'm hearing?
definitely possible that we just don't get along because, I mean, okay. And let me preface this by when the Ravens came to play at FedEx years
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Mm-hmm.
I did have a metal detector to scan all the Ravens fans that were coming to the tailgate. And then we did make them take basically a mug shot with a Polaroid camera, and we put them on a wall of shame. So, I just, maybe it was karma. It's fine. And I still have the metal detector just in case we need to bring that thing out. So we'll
Oh
see.
my
We'll see.
gosh. I would have
Hey, it
thought that
gets serious in the parking lot, man.
I would have thought that you would have had that for Philly, but not Baltimore. But okay. I mean, all right. To each his
Uh,
own. I
Ray
I, I will
Lewis.
I will never stop someone from doing what they feel they need to do to protect their safety.
It's a little stabby in Baltimore, man. You 2 blocks away from the Inner Harbor. Do not want to be there at nighttime. So
Is this a night game? Is this no? This is a one
no, no,
o'clock
no.
game,
It's a
right?
day game. Yeah, it's a day. I'm just
Okay.
saying Baltimore in general.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's for me back on the Ayuk thing. I just think it's complete dick because Jayden has so much to worry about right now as the second pick in the draft coming here, not being named the starter yet, has all this other stuff to happen, and now he's going to get asked questions about this when he goes to camp by reporters. And granted, it's going to be a quick and easy answer, but it's just stuff he's going to have to deal with. I mean, you don't do that to your boy. And personally, and then I talked about it, we talked about it in the past pod, I don't want him here, right? I don't think he is a good fit for us here. I would rather pay Terry money because they're both going to be owed contracts coming up than paying him.
Mhm.
And I think the Niners are actually they're going to settle. And I think, can't remember who it was. It was someone on B. Mitch and Family talking. It's nearly $900,000 a game he is going to miss if he continues to hold out. He's not going to go to camp, and it's going to be a problem, but we'll see. It's not our problem until he keeps bringing Jayden up. And there was a guy that John Kime retweeted, Nick Wagoneer. So during contract discussions on the last year of their deal, the Niners didn't actually sign George Kittle's contract until August 13th. Fred Warner, they waited till July 21st. Debo waited till July 31st. And Nick Bosa, they waited till September 6th.
Hmm.
So it's not unlike them to drag this stuff out. I just think that Ayuk is being a little more dramatic about it. I mean, Debo did talk about holding out and all this other stuff, but I think Ayuk going on all these podcasts and talking about it here and there is just blowing it up. And we're just catching shrapnel because those two are boys.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Jayden. But as I said, I honestly believe that Ayuk is trying to show him, whether good or bad, the ins and outs of the NFL with him being so close to him. Like you, I feel that they will succumb and they will go ahead and sign him. It's just a matter of time. This is just what both parties do. The players gotta take off all the pictures of his Instagram and all that nonsense to get his fan base riled up to possibly put pressure on those owners to change some things around. And it's just a back and forth game. So I foresee him being a 49er. And I also think that the 49ers aren't going to let him go right now because they are so close to winning, to where, and he's a pivotal he plays a pivotal role in their offense to where they're not going to let him go because they're on the cusp of winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, and technically, I don't believe that. I mean, we could afford him, but why would you do it right now? You know, so that's how I look at that, man. We aren't gonna sign him. It would be nice. It's almost like, oh, I'm not gonna say that. Yes, I will. It's almost like the name thing. It sounds good, but it ain't gonna happen. At least not this year.
Don't bring that back up again, man. It's just, oh man. We'll put a pin in that real quick. The Niners are the favorites to win the Super Bowl right now. They're plus 550, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Over Kansas City. Interesting.
This is via DraftKings from July 15th, right? Below are the 2024 Super Bowl odds. Kansas City's plus 600. The Ravens are plus 900. They're favored, right? Why the hell would they give a key piece of their offense away
Mm-hmm.
for a draft pick? It makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense. They hold all the leverage. They can find the hell out of this kid. And yeah, granted,
Yeah.
it ruined the relationship, but hey, once he signs that deal and they say, you know what, don't pay us that fine, everything's fixed. So
Right.
it's not going to matter. It's one thing I'm sick and tired of talking about. Another thing I'm sick and tired of talking about is the name going to come back because we're wearing gold pants? I'm
Okay.
sorry, but
No.
did you care? I guess it was the Washington franchise's birthday, and I see a tweet come up on my watch saying, we're getting you guys a birthday present. So I'm thinking, oh, damn, here we go. They're dropping ticket prices. They're going to take away
Mm-mm.
fees.
No.
They're going to have a sale in the team store. No, none
No.
of that. All they did is they're bringing back gold pants.
So here's my thing. It looks like they're just solid gold pants, not the gold pants with the red and white pinstripe on them.
Yeah, it's not.
So to me, that's a non-story. You could have just, the same way that you wrote out their pictures that they took, you could have just had them in pictures and people would notice, oh, they got yellow pants. That means nothing to me. And maybe to other fans, it moves heaven and earth. But for me,
So many people were thinking this is the first step. The name's coming back. And then you got RG3 saying, hey, this is a safe space. What do you think about the old logo? Like, I mean, that's just clickbait as far as I'm concerned.
man, yeah, no, man. What I want to be focused on is everyone getting through camp healthy, putting a great product on the field, us possibly winning double digits games this year, and see where this thing goes, and what's going on with the stadium. Doesn't move me at all. But for those that it does move, hey, more power to you. But for me, no. And it sounds like for you, nah, doesn't do anything either.
It just pisses me off because I guess I understand there's nothing to talk about right now because the players are on vacation and we don't have an ownership group that, is an asshole. So everything is good and it's quiet right now. But things just get dragged out so much. I don't care if they wear pink and purple polka dot pants. All I care about is how we play.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh, well, when we wore gold pants in the past, so it's all that matters. Like the last time we wore gold pants was 2018, and we got our ass shut out by the Eagles at FedEx.
No.
Like, I remember being at that game, and they killed us 24-0. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have good memories of us wearing gold pants. And then I had to go on Fox 5 to talk about it and looking up different stats. Shanahan basically brought it back, and we had 6 out of 9 losing seasons wearing those pants. Like, what are these good memories people are thinking about? When we won the Super Bowls, it wasn't wearing gold pants. So I think people are just grasping here like, oh, it's going to be good. And what's really going to piss me off? If they decide to wear these gold pants with the black jerseys and we get compared to the Steelers again.
No, I
I
can't
don't know
see
if
that.
they do it, but it's
I can't
just
see that, but it is an option, but we don't want that option.
no, definitely not.
We don't want that. And here's the thing. If we were, I guess, under the old regime and you know, back in that time frame, maybe I could say things transfer, but this is one of those things that doesn't transfer. This is, this is brand new day one stuff with these owners. I mean, it's the second season, but the first full season that I think that they have truly control of the organization. The first last year was just, okay, we're here. There's nothing we can do. We're gonna just make the best of it. This year, I feel as though everyone has their hands dirty and mixing up the pot, the pot and soil to grow this flower that we're trying to do as commanders or whatever you want to call us. If you want to call us Redskins, okay, whatever. Watch football team, whatever. But everybody's got their hand in the dirt, collectively trying to bring this organization up to speed. And so that's how I look at this thing. What happened in the past, go pants. Now, man, everything has changed, and truthfully, the 28th in 11 days or 10 days in a wake up, that's when we will see this true transformation.
Yeah, and I mean, it hasn't even been a year since he's on the team. He got the team on Friday, July 21st, right?
Oh, so yeah.
So just think about all the changes and everything that has happened since then. It's crazy to me, and there's going to be more that I
Hmm.
cannot wait to see. I mean, you're talking about the stadium and this and that, and still have no idea where that's going or what's happening. And I just keep going back to what they're saying and what I'm telling everyone else. We got way more important things to worry about than who the hell is going to be wearing what and what the hell our name is going to be. Because I know some older fans that said it's not my team anymore, right? Once they change
Right.
that name, even though those Lombardis are still inside that building, but once they change that name, it's not my team anymore. And you know what? I feel bad for you. I really do. But other than that, goodbye. I don't care. I don't have time for you. I don't care what they call us, other than if they name us the Cowboys. I can't jump on board with that. But I don't care what they call us. It's my team, regardless of
Mhm.
what they wear, what they do. And I just want to see, like you and most of our listeners and everyone else, what the hell we're going to look like in training camp. I
Yeah.
mean, my biggest questions going into training camp is, can this offensive line truly protect this kid?
Mhm.
Can Brandon Coleman, can he be that starting left tackle? Because a lot of the draft guys out there, the Mel Kipers and all the other guys said, he's a guard, he's not a tackle. Can he really be that tackle? And, non Jayden, I think my top three things is offensive line. Can Emmanuel Forbes actually play? Or did we waste a first round pick on this kid? But now that he actually has a real coach, not someone that was coaching high school, can they actually use him? And what is our secondary going to look like? Because I've
Mhm.
got some concerns with all that turnover. I mean, what about you? What are you most excited to see when you're out there on the 28th?
Non Jaden, what I'm
Non
excited
Jaden.
is non Jaden. I'm excited. See, and I look at things a little differently. Obviously, I look at the fans. The fans don't play the game, but I first and foremost, I want to be around my people. That's first and foremost. Second, I want to see. You took mine secondary. I want to see what that secondary looks like, and I also want to see what our offensive line looks like. I know what our receivers are. I know what our linebackers are, or at least what I feel our linebackers are. We had problems in the secondary, and did we bolster the secondary? We know we bolstered the linebacker core. We know that. All right. But like you, we had some issues back there. And I think a lot of it came down to coaching and the non experience, if you will, of a coach that we had. And the guys kept doing the same thing that they were basically taught to do. Well, that everything is brand new for us, man. And so we're gonna kick the tires and see where everybody is. And I think that for once, this is what the captain feels, not what anybody else feels. But I think for once, if you aren't cutting the mustard, you'll probably be sitting the bench. You're not gonna wait until so many weeks before you say, nah, this guy, from what we see, he doesn't have it. They're going to put somebody else in that position. That's what I think is going to happen this year versus the other years. If you're not cutting the mustard, I honestly feel that they're going to put somebody else in that spot who is even if it's a half a percentile better than what you are, they're going to put them in and try to figure it out to see who actually is the best player on the field.
Yeah. I mean, this is a evaluation year on the guys that are still here from the Rivera roster. And it is a, recalibration is whatever the hell they like to call it. But a lot of these free agents we brought in are on 1-2 year deals for the most part to see, hey, can these guys that are still here do it? Can some of these draft picks step in? And I agree with you 1,000%. I don't think what you're getting paid is going to matter. I don't think how many years you have left on your deal matters. They're going to put the best 11 guys on offense and the best 11 guys on defense on that field. And we're going to find out who is actually going to compete because sad to say, man, we didn't compete last year, right? There were some times where I felt that guys just took plays off because I think a lot of that had to do with they knew they had a coach that was a dead man walking.
Yep. Lame
right? And
coach.
this is completely different now. There's just new blood, new energy. But one thing that did come out while we took a little vacation was Joe Theismann came out and said this on the Craig Hoffman show. Take a listen.
These guys don't even get a chance to really work together. You've got hardly any days in training camp. You're never going to see anybody get hit during the preseason. So the first time that they're really going to be involved and have any kind of contact is for the opening game. Jayden Daniels he isn't and shouldn't play in the preseason. So if he isn't going to play in the preseason, how are we going to be able to understand how good he is when he's got people around his feet? And it's a different world. It's a different world than college football. Why would you put your starting quarterback out there? Let's say you got your starting offensive line. They'll probably play a series, maybe. So you give him a little chance to get his feet a little bit wet. But you don't want him You don't want to risk him out there in a preseason game. Craig, they would tear Dan apart if Jayden got. They would.
You're not wrong. You're 1,000% not wrong.
So where's your risk reward? You give him a chance to grow into the position, and this is going to be with every rookie quarterback that starts. Every and any rookie quarterback that starts. I would be surprised if you see them more than a series, possibly two in the preseasons. You know they're not going to play in the third for sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's a big, long period of time before the opener, too, as far as that goes. Do you really risk them out there in the second game? And the other part of it is how am I going to be able to evaluate the guys that I'm looking at to fill out the roster if I don't have them out on the field? And if I put the guys that don't have experience out there with him, I go run the risk of getting them killed. So, it's sort of a quandary, but in my mind, it's no question a decision that I don't take the chance of putting him out on that football field and having something happen to him in the preseason.
Do you agree with Joe T? Do you not want Jayden to play any in preseason?
I do not agree with Joe T. And you might as well, with that being said, then you might as well not even have joint practices. Because when you go to joint practices, anything can happen, and it's a little more controlled. You still can't hit the quarterback as far in joint practices. I mean, I think of last year when Hard Knocks was with Detroit, I think it was, and they were showing the guy defensive end, and he was like, "Oh, I would have got you," but they still allowed the quarterback to play through. That to me doesn't teach him anything. At some point in time, we keep talking about college is different from the pros and it's a faster game. Well, how is he going to necessarily learn if he isn't out there. Now, I'll say this, Ted, and Joe touched upon it. If the ones are out there, meaning the offensive line and all the ones, then he needs to be out there. But the moment that you put the number 2 in for this, or you're subbing with, no, he needs to come out. But as long as the ones are out there, I feel that he should play. And at some point in time, a offensive coordinator has to be smart enough to know that, okay, if this was a true game, we'd put Jayden in hypothetically six-step drops, 7-step drops. But this is preseason. We're not going to do that. We just want him to get the feel, do a couple handoffs, do a couple passes, see things differently from what he saw them in true action, and then get him off the field. Get him prepared. But don't ask me to go up, let's just say, and I always use this analogy, don't ask me to compete in a typing class when I've never taken a typing class. And yes, he has played quarterback. And let's just say college is 500%, where NFL is 1,000%. So we can give him that curve of 500, but it's still NFL versus college. So you got him in a 101 typing class, put him in the doggone advanced typing class so that he can truly get his keystrokes down so that he knows how to type. And yes, he can get injured, but he can get injured on the practice field against his own teammates, some quirky, freaky incident. Then what are you going to say? This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And I hear what he's saying, but you got to get him in there to get the experience. And unfortunately, or fortunately, what's going to happen is going to happen. What do you say?
You can't put the kid in a bubble, right? You can't protect him like that indefinitely. I mean, look, Reuben Foster. Everyone was all hyped up about him. He never actually played a freaking snap for us. I mean, he got hurt in just I don't know if it was minicamp or what.
A non-contact play.
Yeah. And never stepped back on the field again. Right? It's just, yes, he played college at a very high level, but the speed of the NFL game is different. And you always like to say when they're going against each other, they're not given 100%. Right? You're maybe given 80% because you're not trying to beat your brother up across the line of scrimmage from you. So he needs to see and he needs to get reps at full speed. And I do agree that at any point in time, if the first string offensive line is not in there, he should not be in there, right? Let Mariota be the sacrificial lamb and go out there when you've got Ricky Stromberg and Trent Scott lining up out there in offensive line. Yeah. But if our ones are out there, then it's basically a show for who the hell, or Kingsbury, to all of a sudden show us that he can actually do this quick game and what he can do with this offensive line. I'm not saying, use all the playbook, but 2-3-step drops, get it out of his hand quick, right? And make sure that Jayden knows, do not take off and run it. Because I think there were a couple times during minicamp where Jayden ran and a couple of the players were lined up on the sidelines and some of the beat reporters overheard the players saying, don't do it. Don't do it. And then Jayden cut up because he knew nobody could touch his ass.
Right.
So he needs to understand that, okay, in practice, that's one thing. If we get to a joint practice, don't do it because they're going to hit you, even though they're not supposed to.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we're in a preseason game, your ass better slide.
Oh, right? Heck yeah, because all gloves are off. And that's what it truly takes. So let's just say this, all right? And we know what happened, the unfortunate incident that happened over the weekend, all right? And I want you to put this in perspective, okay? You saw the video, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
What happened? Okay. So what did the female Secret Service officer do? So many times when you go to the range or a controlled environment, that target, you know, it's going to take 2 seconds to face, fire 2 shots, and reholster. And there's no pressure on you whatsoever. Well, unfortunately, a real life situation came about, and wasn't she able to do? She wasn't able to put that holster or her gun back in her holster. And I'm sure she's practiced it many times, but there's no pressure. A real life incident happened and she couldn't do it. She tried several times. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. So I mean, something that they train for all day, every day.
That's my point. And until you are actually in the ish, you don't know what you're going to do. And that's why I say you got to play the kid so that he can have at least a better understanding of what's going on. And like you said in preseason and joint practice, they're not supposed to hit you. They may give you a shiver, a forearm shiver or something, let you know, hey, I'm here. But that's about as close as you're going to get until somebody can lay some wood and you know it's for real. You're babying the kid. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I hope that he does play, providing that the ones are out there. And as you said, Kingsbury has to know what he's working with, because I don't think that you really know in joint practice. You get an idea, but you still need to get those reps. The whole squad does, and I think about, you know, the NFL has changed obviously, but you hear the old timers like Doc talking and say, these kids, this is a cakewalk. We had full pads 2 days where these guys may have, you know, it's a 2-a-day practice, but it's not as hard as it once was.
Well,
You
they don't
know,
do
so
2 days. The second part of the day that fans aren't allowed to go to is just a walkthrough.
mhm,
Right. I mean, I remember being in Richmond for 2 days.
yeah,
Right. And the first part they're hitting, the second part they're hitting. It's not the same. It also makes me wonder if that's why so many players have these soft tissue injuries now, because their bodies aren't conditioned to
mhm,
handle it and go through it. And some of them saying it's making their careers last longer. And I get it, but I do not want his first snap on a field to be against Tampa Bay,
no,
in there, in that stadium, with Vita Vea or that team coming down and just bearing on his ass. It's doing the kid a disservice. And I don't think that's going to happen.
agreed.
I don't know why Theismann came out and said that. And I think in the beginning of that clip, he said that Jayden wasn't going to play in preseason. Let me go back and play that beginning part real quick.
These guys don't even get a chance to really work together. You've got hardly any days in training camp. You're never going to see anybody get hit during the preseason. So the first time that they're really going to be involved and have any kind of contact is for the opening game. Jayden Daniels he isn't and shouldn't play in the preseason.
He isn't and shouldn't play in the preseason. How does Joe T know he's not going to play? I'm guessing that was just a fumble on his part, and he didn't really mean that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But Joe T, he's not sitting there with Kingsbury and Peters and Dan Quinn. I mean, yes, he does go to the facility and shows his face there. I mean, no one asks Joe T for, you know, his credentials, that Lombardi trophy sitting inside the lobby. But saying he isn't going to play in preseason, I'd love to bet some money with Joe to see if that's the case, because I don't think he's right. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think the first time we see Jayden out there for preseason, I'll probably send a video text message to Joe saying, I think he's out there right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. But
Is that a look alike? I don't know.
I mean, this is a story I don't think I ever really told anybody, but Theismann called me up one day, and I'm sitting there. I'm at the hospital.
Aren't you special?
So I used to help Larry Michael out with the TV show.
Yes.
This was a different show, and I didn't get a chance to go. I had a family member that was in the hospital, not doing well, and Joe was filming the show. He called me up because I wasn't there and wanted to check on me and my family. And it was just so awesome. This guy freaking won Super Bowls for us, but that's the type of person that he is.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would never give him a hard time or anything, because shoot, he brought back so many memories to this fan base and this and that. But I do feel at times that he oversteps with some of his opinions. But hey, it also gives us something to talk about other than gold pants in July when it's 105 degrees out. So I do thank him for that. But I wouldn't say it often, but Joe T, I think you're wrong on this one, man. And I do think we're all going to get to see Jayden out there. And I just hope, because you were in Baltimore for the Ravens practice that we had. Yeah. I just hope that the Jets do what the Ravens did, because they streamed it on YouTube, and that the Dolphins are going to stream it for us so we get a chance to see it back here in DC, because the Commanders didn't have an opportunity for us to do it because that's their facility. So I hope that those of us fans that aren't going to get a chance to go to those joint practices are going to get a chance to see it, and we get a chance to actually watch and see how Jayden does, you know, when it is a somewhat real scenario versus going up against your brothers.
Or just have Brandon leak it on his page. I mean, you know.
Well, we know he's not going to be at Niners camp, so maybe he can just sit there and follow Jayden around. Give him your GoPro harness on his shoulder, and then he can follow Jayden around with it.
Oh man, that would be something. It really would be. But getting back on target, I do believe that he should play. I really do. So,
well, I'm thinking we'll see him out there, and I love to know the odds from DraftKings on that one, if Joe T is right or wrong.
Well, if he's right, that tells me that they need to button up the hatches at Commanders Park and not let everybody know what the game plan, because I'm going to be a little upset, to say the least, if he doesn't. Because if hypothetically we don't win, then people will say, well, it's because he didn't have any practice.
You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Yeah. And then if he does get hurt, right? And then it's because he did this and this. I mean, there's always those people that are just waiting. I feel that they've got that tweet saved in their draft and they're just waiting to hit send, right? Yeah.
Hey, well, I hear the music playing in the background, and Ted, it's been a blast, man. It's really good getting back on the mic and chopping it up with you. I'm looking forward to next week so that we can truly get involved with some things. And thank you guys for riding with us as well. Remember, guys, you rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain. See ya.